Hi, this is Kilo Quebec 4, Quebec Whiskey Hotel with another video. And yes, I noticed that sound artifact and I think I've tracked it down and eliminated it. But that's part of the fun of ham radio. You're always something little like that in this case, that sound only showed up when I was recording videos. So this time let's talk about some settings. Now, first I'm going to look at, I've showed this window before. Again, don't be afraid to put information in there, but I mean, you do it the way you want to do it. VarAC is very flexible. But let's talk about some of the rig control and those settings. There we go. Now the rig control is going to be very specific to your system, depending on your radio and whether it has cat control or not. Um, This particular radio is instance 2 in my VarAC cluster, which is on the FT991A. My UHF VHF instance, which is running on 2-meter FM, it does not have cat control, so very, very different setup there. But it's pretty straightforward. Again, if you have problems, the Vera group on YouTube or on Facebook is very good with folks there that can help you out. And if you have a radio, you can say, "Hey, I'm trying to set up this radio," and somebody can go in there and help you out. The contents of these tabs change on every version of Vera or VarAC. So you want to check them out when you upgrade to a new version. You want to take a look at them. And of course, now these are for your frequency control and push to talk. Now the Vera settings is for VarAC to look at your Vera modem, whether it's HF, FM, SAP, whichever one you happen to be using. Now, because I have multiple HF rigs, I have multiple Vera folders. So this is where you set your VarAC to look. And if you need to change this, you can just click in it and it'll bring in a window. You just click on the Vera in the folder that you want and then just click on it and it'll fill that information in there. Now the IP host number, this 127.0.01, that's your PC internal. The ports are for UDP and for KISS. Those are going to need to match what you have in your Vera modem. So in this, I can go in here and go down to Vera setup. Let me drag that over here. Okay. So I have different main ports selected and different KISS ports selected so that they match what the Vera modem in HF2 to this instance of VarAC. The data number that's going to change automatically. If you change the main port, these are going to change appropriately. Logging of, okay, I have start the modem on startup. I don't know why you wouldn't do that, but it's an option. Um, Now this, remember, Vera audio level per band, that is very, very helpful. So when you do your tuning for your ALC, this will remember that band to band. So if you go from 20 meters to 10 meters, the radio is going to respond differently, and it will change the setting to what you've adjusted for each band. So very, very convenient. Now go to logging. Most of this stuff you don't want to really touch. Um, I'm running log for old men, and this allows for um, VarAC to log QSOs in the log for old men software. Now, the way I have it set up is I have the automatic call sign lookup, and this is the port number that you want to use in log for old men. Your software may be different, so that when I connect and I automatically connect to somebody, it'll pull up the information in log for old men, which is really convenient because it shows me a map of where they're at, where their grid square's at, all their name and location information. It just, they just work together, and it makes it very, very convenient. The ADIF file, you can change where that goes. I personally don't, but um, it's customizable. There's a lot of options. Now, also knowing where that ADIF file is very, very convenient, because if you have software that reads the ADIF file, that's where you want to point it to. Now, PSK Reporter, I have it set so that you upload and self-report. So the upload is when I connect to somebody, it sends a report to PSK Reporter. It says, hey, KQ4QWH connected to such and such station at this time on this frequency. The self-report is when you move from band to band, it will self-report after once you change bands, about 4 minutes after you've changed bands, it will self-report to PSK Reporter and say, hey, KQ4QWH is on this band, this frequency, this mode. This is helpful because that way people could know you're there. And I use that quite a bit. I use PSK Reporter quite a bit, and it's really nice to know who's out there. Now on the QSO tab, this call interval, uh, if you're in a QSO and you have a time period to try to connect to someone. Auto disconnect, if it's idle for 5 minutes, then it's going to disconnect. Showing distance in miles. Um, I really need to remove him, but he wears me out. I'm sorry. It is what it is. You can change how your call sign drop down list appears. Um, that's this one right here. And you can change um, what, the ones that you contact a lot, uh, or you can customize it. You want to look in the manual and see how that works for you. Okay. These are all options. Initially, just leave them the way they are, so that I mean, in default, they're going to be good. Now, I have auto accept verbose SNRs turned off. You can set, somebody can do in an inquire, they can set it up so that they're doing, basically do what verbose is that they're going to exchange SNRs every couple of minutes. Now, if you're working to map a connection between point A and point B, that can be very useful, but it sucks up bandwidth. It interferes with the QSO. Um, I have it turned off, so if somebody initiates a verbose SNR, I can accept it. I might go, hey, what's with the verbose SNR? And or we may be having a discussion about it, and he initiates it, and I approve it. Um, Load chat history, that is really helpful. It gives you up to 200 lines of the previous QSO you've had with somebody. So if it's been a while and you connect, I had one of those this morning. It's been 5 or 6 months since we had talked, and it loaded our QSO from the previous chat, and I could go in and look at the data window and scroll up and down and look and see, oh, okay, this is what we were talking about the last time. Um, Auto QSY. Now, in some of my previous videos, I had connected to somebody and initiated a QSY, and their station did not QSY. This is why that didn't happen. They didn't have this checked. Now, in a QSY, you can request not just within the band that you're initially started on, you can actually change the band you want to go to. I have personally never done that. I can see how that would be useful. Um, let's say, for example, that uh, you're on 15 meters and you don't have a good connection, or you're on 40 meters and you have a weak connection, but it would be better on 20 meters. Uh, you can actually skip bands. I don't have that automatically set because it's just something that I haven't dealt with. If you have somebody who you connect to on a regular basis and you want to explore, give that a try. Okay, CQ and beacons. Now I have advanced beacons set. Now the difference in between advanced and standard is that, okay, it won't let me do it. But anyway, um, if you're in advanced, it gives your location, and it also gives the icons. If you're in standard, it does not. Now, in my HF instances of VarAC, I have it set for advanced. In my 2-meter FM, I have it set to standard, because if you have it set to standard in 2-meter FM, you can take advantage of the digipeater function of VarAFM, and I'll cover that in another video later. But if you're running VarAC on 2-meter FM, you want to run a standard beacon, not an advanced. This is where you set your beacon intervals. I 15 minutes. Um, so these are, I don't really mess with these settings at all. Um, these are also settings that you may or may not want to um, mess with. Now the show last known locator, that ties into GPS if you have that set. All right. DX cluster, when you, this goes back to the QSO, um, or logging, where you do PSK reporter. You do that through your DX cluster. This is going to be set up correctly right out of the, when you download it. So you really don't want to mess with it. I don't recall if I had to put my call sign in here. I believe it did it automatically, but it's been a long time, so I don't really remember. Now I do have GPS connected to my PC, so I have that enabled. These are the settings for my GPS, and remember last location. Now show live live coordinates. I have that turned off because if somebody requests my location or they request my locator, it'll show my Maidenhead square. If I had this checked, it would actually show the lat and longitude of where I'm at. That's up to you. If I was in an income situation, I would probably check this so that it showed my actual latitude and longitude. Again, with MCOM, these are pretty much these are the default settings. I would not mess with those, but you do, that's part of the flexibility of VarAC, so you have the ability to do that. Email. The instructions for setting up email in the manual are very good. You want to use it with Gmail. Now, in the manual, if you look at the settings, the email address that he has is like verac.emailgateway.hiscallsign@gmail.com. What you want to put here is the actual email address of the Gmail that you set up. The port and timeouts, you don't, and you want to have these enabled. Don't mess with those. Now the password, the password is something that you have to set up. But this, how to set up an SMTP IMAP server, this is it's a setup file, and it opened it up on another screen. I'm not going to mess with it. But you want to follow these instructions for setting up your IMAP and so forth within Gmail. They're really good. You shouldn't have any problems with that. The instructions for AI in the manual are also very good. You shouldn't have any problems with that. I've got it set up, but I do not have AI enabled because, quite frankly, I watched it give some really bad answers to questions. I'll demonstrate that in another video. I'll connect to somebody who has AI. The BBS functions, again, in a previous video I talked about when I was talking about uploading files and downloading files from a BBS. This is going to point to where your BBS files, and you can have it enabled, but you can turn it off so it doesn't announce it in beacons. I can see a reason for doing that. I personally don't. The way I have it is set up, it announces. Again, flexibility. Now I have a VarAC cluster set up. So I have 3 instances. This happens to be instant number 2. The FT710 on the 80-meter delta loop is instant 1. This is the FT991A on the infed half wave, and instance 3 is an Anytone uh, UHF VHF FM rig, and it's instance 3. So you want to enable multi-node cluster. You want to declare an instance for that particular radio. I have PTT lock set right now on my HF stations. And the reason that I have it set is because, quite frankly, my antennas are too close together, and they do interfere with each other. If I have somebody connected on 20 meters and then I have somebody come in and connect on 40 meters, the antennas are too close and they interfere. Hopefully in a week or two I'll have that moved, and then I can turn that off. If somebody connects to this instance, it locks the other one so that it cannot transmit and prevents that. This email gateway handler, once you've set up your email and you have multiple instances, only one instance can talk to Gmail at a time. I've not tried it, but the instructions say bad things happen, so I'm not going to take a chance on it. But this instance provides email to the others, and so it's still available on all of your instances. It's just that this is the one that's talking to Gmail. Now, as you go to VarAC University and or the Academy, then once you get your diploma code, you put it in here, and then it'll show the star tag that you've gone to the Academy. Under miscellaneous, I would really not mess with the backup data. That's You want to do your backups. QSL cards, I have not really set up QSL cards within VarAC, and that's because I use EQSL and have been for a long time, and there's no sense in duplicating, at least in my opinion. Now, there is ham play, and you can enable it or disable it. I have it enabled because there's one operator, he loves to play ham play. He loves to connect to me, and if I have it turned off, he's like, Steve, why'd you turn off your ham play? So I leave it enabled just for him. Suppress ham play. If you have this unchecked, you can actually see the commands going back and forth in the data stream. I don't want to watch it, so I have that suppressed. I have it set for, this is a new feature in VarAC, is to check for updates, and then to show tips. This is when you put your cursor on something that it'll show the tips. Linux compatibility. I understand that it'll run under Linux Wine. I'm not doing that, so I don't have that checked. Enable debug mode. And if you're having problems and VarAC is doing something weird and you can't really figure it out, enable the debug mode. This logs literally everything that's going on within VarAC. And then you can send that file to IRAD or his team, and they can figure out what's happening, whether it's a configuration problem with your rig, or if it's actually a problem within VarAC. I only turn this on when I'm having a problem, and if I have a problem, I turn this on, and then I never have the problem until I turn it off, and then the problem happens again. It's just Murphy's Law. That's the way it is. So those are the primary setting tabs. As I said, every time there's a new version, there's changes in here. Um, you want to really look around. Do do do. Now, um, allow Pathfinder. I went back to QSO, jumping around on you. Um, if you have heard a station and somebody sends a Pathfinder, uh, it's like this K3XT sent a Pathfinder. If my station had heard him recently, it'll send a response back to him like I did on this one here. I heard the station, what band, what their strength was, and how long ago it was. Um, that's a good thing to do. Email, Vmail parking. Yeah, if you're going to be doing email, uh, then I would allow that. Um, Relay notification. If I have a Vmail for someone and if I hear their beacon, it'll send them a notification to let them know it's there. I'm not really sure what the send frequency offset is. Um, I don't know. I guess I'll have to look that up. Learn something new every day. So those are the, excuse me, the primary settings. Um, Appearance and sound. Now I do use the sound because that way I can have various AC going and I can hear when something happens. Now the narrator, you can change the voice. My instant my instant my instance one has a male voice. Instant two has a female voice, and that makes it easy so that if I hear something, I know automatically which instance it is. You can also select what it narrates. Um, and you can change your data stream text. This is where you change your text size and colors and so forth. I make mine a little bit bigger in the data stream just because I'm old and my eyesight's not what it used to be. Okay. Canned messages. Again, you can customize these to however you want them to be. Now you can edit the frequency drop-down list, and that is what you see here. So um, the this is for the VarAC Sunday chats. Um, I have two frequencies set up for running 2300 baud or 2300 bandwidth. I'm involved in an MCOM on Tuesday evenings. So you can customize these however you want to um, by going in and doing your frequency drop down list. And then you can edit those right here. I do not personally use a frequency scheduler. You can set it, and this is the time that it will switch to that frequency. So you can set them all up. That's very useful for folks that uh, want to rotate through different bands. And so I usually have one of my instances sitting on 20 meters, and then I rotate around with the other. It all depends on what the band conditions are. Profiles. Now, I have numerous profiles. This VarAC INI, that is the original profile when you first set everything up. So your first radio, all of your settings, they're all going to be in this profile. I can change profiles, and the way to create a new profile, drag that over here. I'm going to close that. Okay, you go to see Windows and go down to VarAC. So you have this VarAC INI file. To create a profile, so I originally had this one hooked up to the FT710. All you have to do is make a copy of that and then paste it into the folder and then rename it. But name it something that makes sense to you. You do not want any spaces in this file name, so that the VarAC underscore and then following on from there. It causes problems later on. Now, so I have two profiles for the 710. One is with email that is selected to be the email gateway to Gmail, and one without. The VarAC, or for the 991, I have an FM for running 2-meter and 440-meter FM, and I also have one for single sideband. I have another one for my Anytone radio that is the one that permanently parks on 2-meter FM. So what you can do is you copy it, paste it in there, rename it. Now once you do, that's when it's going to show up in your switch profiles, and then you can change profiles from one to the other. Now, because I'm not going to get into the setting up a cluster for this one, but that's pretty much your settings. A lot of the settings have a button down in the lower right hand corner to set them back to the default. Well, I hope that helps you out with some of the settings, and if you have any questions, let me know. Kilo Quebec 4, Quebec Whiskey Hotel.